I think I might be a little obsessed with pincushions. What do you think? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, August the 16th, 2021, vlog number 229 and day 523rd of COVID. And I'm Stephen for the Idiot Quilter and Bland Designs, and let's just get right into it. Now, to let you know something, this is the second time I've done this today. I did my whole vlog and my microphone didn't work. So it was all in silence. Now some of you would probably say, yay. And I debated whether I should redo it. But I've got a different microphone system on right now, and I'll be checking it throughout my recording to make sure that it is working properly. And I had the same problem with that microphone system a while ago, and I bought a brand new one, and it was the same brand and everything. And yeah, they do not have a long lifespan. So I won't be buying those ones again anytime soon. So I'm using my wireless system right now, and hopefully this is working out okay. So let's get right into it. You see nothing behind me. Doesn't mean I haven't been working. I finished the Ticky Tacky Little Houses quilt, and I showed you that last week. And so now I'm dedicating my time right now to getting ahead on my Christmas gifts. And those are those table toppers, the ones with the gnomes on it and the ones that have the embroidery part that I call Elegant Santa. And I have 4 of the gnome ones completely done, and I've showed you what they were going to look like when they're finished anyway, so I'm not bothering again right now to do so. But they're turning out okay, and so I've got more of those to work on this week. I think I've figured it out. I need to make at least 12 in total, and I've got about 8. Well, I've got 4 completely finished. I have another 4 that I should be able to get finished this week, and then I'll have to make another batch. Along with those are 3D printed pincushions, and I'm going to show you what I have decided on for that to go along with those table toppers. I'm going to show that to you during the 3D corner on today's vlog. So what else have I been working on? Well, I have always wanted to make a New York Beauty quilt. A New York Beauty quilt is a really complicated quilt to put together to piece because it's a lot of points. They called it New York Beauty because it kind of resembles the crown on the Statue of Liberty's head. Crown, coronet, whatever you would call that she wears. So it's all these points. And it's a really nice design, and there are many things you can do with it. So I am working on a New York Beauty, and this is what one of my sections looks like. This is an in the hoop project, which means I use my embroidery machine to create these. And it creates a quarter here on each, and then you put them together and you get this design. But you can put them together in different ways to get other really intricate and interesting designs. I'm using a layer cake for this, so basically I don't have to think about whether or not my colors go together, because when you get a complete collection in layer cake format, they will all work together. So yes, it will be a bit on the scrappy side. That's what it looks like, but because the fabrics are batiks and they coordinate all very well, it looks like more of a planned layout. So I think this is going to be very nice. It's going to be a wall hanging. It's not going to be a quilt. So I have more plans for this, and I'm going to talk about those in more detail tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. And this particular design was the link to it. To get that thing to stay on the counter. Was sent to me by a friend of mine, Rob, who's on the Quilter's Way with me, and he knew how much I'm interested in the New York Beauty and how much I love to use my embroidery machine for things. So he sent me the link, and yeah, it was a good purchase. It was on sale too. That was the beauty part of it. Didn't cost that much, like about $16 American, so about 21 Canadian. So that's not bad. Okay, so that's what I've been working on. And in my quest to always find new recipes and things to make food more exciting, although it's mostly Walter who cooks it, I found a YouTube channel that, although this has been around and I'm sure you know about it, but it's worth mentioning again, and it's the Food Network. Now, you probably associate the Food Network with television, and this is the same thing, except all the various episodes of all the various programming that they have on the Food Network. A lot of those can be found on their YouTube channel. So here's my review of that. This week's YouTube channel is called The Food Network, and I'm sure you're very much familiar with the Food Network on your cable or television subscriptions, but they do have a YouTube channel, and I go to this one when I'm looking for some new recipes or techniques or whatever. They have a bounty of shows that are actually the shows that they have on TV. So if you don't subscribe to the food channel on your TV, or you want to catch up on a past episode or something, go to the playlist for the Food Network and you're bound to find it there. They have quite a few to choose from. So this is a very helpful channel. It's one where you can learn something and you might get some new ideas for, sprucing up midweek meals. So check out the Food Network. So you'll find the link for that, as usual, in the resource list below in the show notes. You'll also find this week's Stephen and Walter live link. You'll find a link to my latest Idiot Quilter episode 127, where I talk about the woes I'm having with my embroidery machine. Actually, those woes are over. And again, that'll be something I will bring people up to date on the Idiot Quilter episode later this week. There is the latest So Chatty episode 21, where I call it Pick Your Fabric, Not Your Nose. My weak attempt at a little humor there. That's where we're talking about how we pick fabrics for various projects. And at first, when someone suggested this topic to us, and at first we didn't think there was much to go on, but we found out as we were working with this topic, there was a lot that we could talk about on that. So we did. And just speaking about topics for something like So Chatty is a difficult one to come up with a new topic every week that we think people would be interested in. And so we'd like your help. If you're someone who likes to watch The Idiot Quilter and So Chatty on a regular basis, please feel free to send us a suggestion for something we can talk about on either one of those two platforms, and we'll run with it. Okay, so that takes me to what's pissing me off this week. I'm going to talk a little bit about my mother later on, but right now I want to talk about our healthcare system. I had something that happened with my mother this week, and that meant that there was a hospital involved. Now, she basically essentially had to go to the hospital. And so the ambulance system picked her up and took her there. She was in the emergency for a while. They released her. I had to make arrangements with another transport company to transport her back to the nursing home. Okay. A lot of people think when they think of the Canadian healthcare system as, oh, you've got a really great system because it's free. No, it's not. It is a good system. Okay. It could be a lot better. Okay. Most things do not cost us any money up front. We pay taxes, okay? We pay a lot of taxes in this country, and a large portion of our taxes go to our healthcare system. So it's really not free. But in comparison to other places in the world, it is definitely very, very good. And when I say other places in the world, I'm talking most directly about the American system, which you hear all kinds of horror stories about what it costs people if they get sick and they have to see a doctor or go to the hospital. Basically, they need to mortgage their property in order to afford it. Well, in Canada, we don't. But there are some hidden costs. And what I mean by hidden costs are things you are not aware of until it happens to you. So that little ambulance ride that took my mother to the hospital, that one is probably going to cost us a minimum of $45. It could be more than that. I'm not absolutely sure. But when you see ambulances going all over town, back and forth and everything like that, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. That's not free. Okay? Then, transporting her back from the hospital to the nursing home, that I had to go to a third party. I couldn't call up the paramedics and do this. That was a one-way ride with them. They're too busy to be, their job is to get people quickly to a hospital because there is a life and death emergency kind of a thing. But once they're released from the hospital, that's not their area. You have to phone a third-party company, I found out, and make arrangements. So I did, and I was told by the staff at the hospital that I called that it's probably going to cost you about $160. And they were right. So I called them. I made arrangements. They picked her up at 11:30 that night, Friday night, to take her back to the nursing home. And that little ride cost us $160.18. And, we're not traveling from one end of the province to the next on this. We are only traveling from the hospital in my city to her nursing home in the town next door. A total distance of maybe, at the most, 10 kilometers. Okay? Now, mind you, they do administrate whatever medication or whatever, if she needs oxygen, and she did, along that and everything. They take, they have hired professionals on there, paramedics or something, that can look after anything that she needs in the time of the transportation. So it's $160 one way, plus you pay for it by your credit card, plus they add an additional 50% of that cost, so $80 on top of that as a holding fee. I guess in case your credit card goes rubber or something like that. On top of that, they told me first 15 minutes are free. What does that mean? First 15 minutes means that they scheduled, and I let the hospital know that the transport would be coming at 11:30 p.m. that night. They will wait for 15 minutes, 11:30 to 11:45. If for some reason there's a delay after that time, after 11:45 in this case, in getting the patient out of the hospital and into the transport, they will charge you $2.02 a minute over that time. So they got to get her at 11:30 and get her into the transport by 11:45. If that can't be done for whatever reason, then it starts going ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. Kind of like a taxi cab, right? The way they charge things. Okay, so anyways, I still don't know exactly how much all of this is costing me because I haven't been invoiced yet, and they said they would send the invoice to me by email. So I'm hoping to see it today so I can get that all paid and out of the way. But if I'm lucky, Walter and I are lucky, we're in a financial situation where we can pay for this. But if we weren't, what if we were some poor person who's unemployed, barely has enough money to pay for their household fees, put food on the table, and then suddenly they get hit with something like this? They may have to choose between whether they're going to have a meal or, pay for this hospital service. That's not right. And that's what my rant is today about that. Because in this country, and I can only speak to my country and my situation, and I know other countries in the world are in far worse situation that makes our situation here look, like boo-hoo, cry me a river kind of a thing. But the point is, we pay a lot of taxes in this country. And a lot of that money is to go into our essential services, which are like healthcare and education. And that's the one thing our provincial government keeps chipping away at all the time. They keep stealing money or finding a way to make us pay for more things because they want to put the money somewhere else. That isn't right. That isn't right. They are basically creating a two-tiered healthcare system by doing this because if you're rich, if you've got lots of money, you can afford it. If you don't, then, well, what are you going to do? And that's not right. That is not how we operate in Canada. Other countries in the world operate that way. We do not. We look after our people. But when we have politicians who don't care about the people, and that has come out during the COVID crisis very clearly at all levels of government, and I have spoken to that issue before, that's not Right. Because the people in politics don't have to worry about what it's going to cost them, if ever. Because most of them are lawyers, most of them, or businessmen, most of them have a great income, better than average, because only the people that have money can afford to run for politics. It's like a hobby, okay, kind of a thing. And so what do they care? They don't. They don't care. So that's what I'm pissed off with. Because healthcare is extremely important, as we all know. And to basically you're making a life and death decision for a person. If a person needs to go to the hospital to have something treated or needs to eat, and they have to choose between the two, well, it's a choice between a rock and a hard place, isn't it? So this kind of, I've known about this before, but when you have something that happens to you, right on your own doorstep, it brings it to the focus or to the forefront much more so. So, yeah, that's my rant for this week, that, our governments don't care. They kill our healthcare, and by doing so, they're killing us. Yeah. Okay. Kill off all the people you want anybody to vote for you then, will you? Think about that. Okay. So, I want to do a little check about my sound right now to make sure I'm not having a repeat of what happened earlier this morning. So, I'll be right back. Okay, everything seems to be working fine. Good. So, what's that take me to? New products. Well, these. New glasses. I'm sure you've noticed them. These are called crystal. The frames are called crystal. They are not made of crystal, although they should be for what I paid for them. They're just acrylic, but they're very modern. And I buy them from a place in Oshawa where the person that owns it is always up on the latest trends in glassware. And I bought my glasses from him for years now. He will always, when I come in for a new pair of glasses, grab the most modern he's got, the new ones, and stick them on me. Kind of like I'm the guinea pig for his glasses. But I'll say this about him. At first, when he sticks something new, trendy onto my face, I look at it and go, I don't know. But I have learned to trust him, because his taste is very good. And when he stuck these on me, at first I went, whoa, bit of a change from what I'm used to. But then I thought, no, I like those. I like them because they're they're not invisible, but you can see through them, sort of a thing. And because of the color of my hair and my beard and the whole bit, I think the whole look kind of goes together with that. Now, were these expensive? Well, yes and no. The frames are $250. Okay, that's not out of the way for frames for glasses. You can spend a lot more than that on frames for glasses. And I have. My old glasses, the ones I had before, were made from titanium because I'm really hard on my glasses. Okay, I sit on them, I drop them, the whole bit. And I liked those glasses. They were Silhouettes or something they call them, which is an expensive brand. And I think they cost me about $100 more than what I paid for these frames. I think they were about $350. But that's not the part that gets you. The lenses are $250 for the frames, over $800 for the lenses. Now, I'm not sure really why my lenses are so expensive. When I used to, before I had my cataract surgery, and I had actual lenses put into my eyes, my glasses cost quite a bit because they were so thick. They would make them as small as they could, as compressed, and the more compressed they go, the more expensive it becomes. So I could see that. But these are essentially reading glasses. I only wear these for looking at a computer screen, like I am right now, or for reading. Otherwise, I can take these off and I can see across the room, no problem. I don't wear them when I'm driving or anything like that. Now, these do have certain features to them that are good for when you're using a computer a lot and things like that. So, and anti-glare, well, I guess that from my point of view, not from yours. And, scratch resistant and all that stuff. And every time you get one of those features added on, that adds to the cost of the lenses, right? But yeah, so these little crystal glasses cost me almost $1,200 with tax and everything included on it. Not cheap. Now, I was just talking about our health system in Canada. One of the things our government wants to do is, one, make us pay more money than we pay already now for getting our eyes tested. For students and for seniors, getting your eyes tested was free. For everybody else, you had to pay, I don't know, it's gone up, it keeps going up. I think it was at one point $30 and went to $50. I think it's $80 now, I'm not sure. And the government doesn't want to increase that amount, and they haven't increased it in years. So as of September 1st, I think, we'll find out whether the government is still going to be talking to the Optometrist Society or Association or whatever who have been fighting this change. I filled out a petition last time I got my eyes test, against the government raising that price. That is still part of healthcare, but this is what they do. They nickel and dime everything and chip away at what we already have. So that really ticks me off. Now, I do have private insurance as well, okay, that covers, a certain amount of my drugs, because we do not have a universal drug plan here in Canada. Okay, you pay for your drugs, unless you're senior, then most of your drugs are covered for that. And there are a few other drugs that are covered for everybody or something like that. But generally speaking, you need to have some sort of insurance plan, either through your employer or, in our case, a third-party one, because we are now retired. And so we pay money into that every month, and it covers most of our drugs. Like, we have a certain percentage we still have to pay on those, but it's nowhere near what it would cost us if we didn't have that insurance. So we have that. And we have it for glasses, but it only covers $350, actually $340. There's a $10 deductible on that. So out of that $1,200, I got back $340 for these glasses. And I can't use that every time I buy glasses. I think I can't do it again for another 3 years or something. I like to put in a claim. So, yeah. So everything costs you in healthcare. Healthcare is expensive. Who's making the money? That's what I'd like to know. Who's making the money when you have these extra charges? Who's getting that? Food for thought. Okay, so that's all that's been new. Oh, I did buy a few little bits and pieces for my 3D printers. I'm kind of stockpiling parts now that I know how to rip them apart and put them back together again. So I've bought a few little things like that. And we bought a UPS uninterrupted power supply for our new modem, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to do another little quickie sound check here to make sure everything's still going along fine. Okay, everything's fine, although I just about deleted that segment. It's not my day-to-day. Okay, moving on. The 3D corner, what have I been doing? Making more Tudor-style houses. I have found a place to put these, and I made another one. Here is the latest one. This one has not been painted yet. I'm having a lot of fun making these, can you tell? And you need some accessories. So, what would be a Tudor village without a food stall? Now, again, not painted, but you can see the detail. Detail's really great on this. And of course you got to have booze, right? So a couple of kegs or barrels of ale on a little stand. Again, this needs to be painted. So it's coming along. What I want to look for now are some trees and things to build this little village with, and a few more houses and things like that. And I have also done, actually I have to run over and get it. One advantage of a wireless microphone, I can move around more. So this is a flower pot, got a hole in its head. This is like an Easter Island kind of thing. But you know what it reminds me of is, if you ever saw that movie, A Night at the Museum, there is this character, and he keeps referring to the main character as Dum Dum. Calls him Dum Dum. So it's the Dum Dum statue, and I'm going to plant a philodendron in him because, I have no lack of philodendrons, do I? Because I keep rooting the things. And I have figured out a way to make a gnome pincushion that I like. Now, I can make a gnome I can make a thimble that I can use as a pincushion, but I want the two combined, and I cannot find any on the internet that are of this design. So I experimented with my programs on my computer, and I was able to figure out how I could merge those two things together into one. And this is what I've created. Now, I did this with rainbow filament. Now, it's not that, doesn't change color very often. In fact, I have two of them done. This one was with the same filament, but you see there's long sections of the same color, and because these are so small, it doesn't necessarily get to a point where it changes. But nevertheless, I still like them. And these are going to go along with those table toppers, Christmas table toppers that I'm making for people. So I'm really happy with this. Now I have one I haven't printed out yet that I did with a Santa Claus. Same method, but that should be really cute too. So some people may get one with the gnome, probably the ones that get the gnome table toppers, and the ones that get the elegant Santa table toppers, they'll probably get the one with the Santa if it turns out okay. So yeah, I was very thrilled that I was able to do that. Okay, so that takes us to Blast from the Past, and lately I've been showing you some travel videos from our last trip to Australia, where we concentrated on Brisbane. And here's another one in that series for you, and I hope you're enjoying them. I like watching them back too because it reminds me of happier times when we could all just go wherever we wanted to go whenever we wanted to. So I'm going to put that in here right now. So it is Saturday, March the 23rd, and we're still in Brisbane, and this is our last day here. Tomorrow we head off to the Gold Coast tomorrow morning. So we're going over this bridge. We've been over this one before, and it's right close to our hotel, and we're heading towards the Science Center or Museum, whatever you want to call it, see what it's like. Hoping there isn't a whole lot of kids there today, but it is Saturday, and that could be the possibility. Well, we were going to attempt the Science Museum, but we think we'll save that for when we come back to Brisbane later on our trip, because it is just a zoo in here today. I don't think you can see it down there, but there's hundreds of people.
They have that science fair right now too,
yeah.
So I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, there's a science fair going on here with all kinds of special events and whatnot. So that's okay. It's not like I've never seen a science center before. We may come back here another day and check it out. But now we're thinking we're going to head back across the bridge and go do a little looking around in the shops and up into the Chinese district and whatnot, and see what's up there. Okay, over there in the distance you see the very tall building. We zoom in right here. This is our hotel, the Meriton. That's where we're staying on the 11th floor. So I don't know, it goes up to about, what, 28?
I don't know, it's 74 stories high.
Oh, so I guess it goes higher than that. Well, we're near the bottom. Okay, so we're in a part of Brisbane that probably a lot of people don't go to, that aren't from here, but we have a way of that. This is the Brunswick Street Mall. Supposedly leads us down into Chinatown, which I don't think is very big, but we'll find out. But definitely an area that I don't think the usual tourist hits. So this is the Brunswick Street Mall, which right now looks very dead. It may be more popular during the week. This is a Saturday. Doesn't look like there's all that much here. Well, this place is to eat, but Finn McCool's, there we go, yeah.
I'm all the way down here.
I have to go to Finn McCool's, yeah. And there's a McDonald's, of course. Okay, so we've now found Chinatown, and this is it. It's not very large, but that's basically it. And we've come in through the back way of Chinatown. This looks like it's probably the front since it's got the gates. Very tiny, not that much here. Of course, maybe at night it livens up a little bit more. So
So we're having lunch along the riverbank here at someplace called Riverland, which is a bunch of street food places and bars. And so we got Greek for two. So Greek salad and fries, and what's the cheese called?
Halloumi.
Halloumi, which is kind of like sakinaki, and chicken and lamb, biggest lamb, and pita and tzatziki. It's actually quite tasty. A little messy to eat because it comes in this big box, and well, you're kind of roughing it, but still pretty good. And this is what this place looks like. And you see, it's so hot they've got the misters going, which I love misters. I'd like to have one on our deck. And as you can see, we didn't enjoy that at all. Okay, so this is our last day in Brisbane until we come back, and we have what? A day and a half before we take our flight back to Canada. So tomorrow we're on our way. We pick up a rented car tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and we're driving our way to the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is how far from here?
About an hour and a half.
About an hour and a half to the Gold Coast. And on the way, we might stop at a fabric store called Fifi's. Fifi's?
Well, actually, Fifi's is further than the Gold Coast. I was thinking, no, we can't stop at Fifi's because Fifi's isn't open on Sunday.
Oh, okay. So when can we go to Fifi's?
We can go on, I think, Monday.
Okay. I thought it wasn't open on Mondays.
No, that's the one in Brisbane. It's not open on Get your facts straight.
I don't know. I'm just along for the ride.
Well, we might stop someplace along the way. I got to do some more research as to where we're stopping on the way to the Gold Coast. Maybe go to Mount Tambourine or something like that on the way there.
Mount Tangerine, is that right next to Mount?
Tambourine.
Oh, I thought it was Tangerine. Amberine.
Tambourine, like, musical instrument.
Oh, tambourine. Oh, hit my tambourine. Whatever. I'm on my second beer.
And then go to the Gold Coast and check in, and then walk around down there. We're staying in Broad Beach, which is a little ways from the real, where the main action is. But there's
main action.
a lot of other stuff around that area, so that's why I chose there. And then we'll stay there for 3 days, and then after that we leave and we head north to the Noosa Heads area.
And that's the place that's like a resort.
Yeah. And then our hotel's a little more expensive there. And
but somebody was talking, where was it? I heard somebody over to the News Ahead or whatever, supposed to be really nice or something. Well, it was that woman, I think, at that
it's supposed to be
bar
really
we were in over on
I
this
think
side
it's
river.
supposed to be sort of like, they have a beach area, and they also have, it's a street, sort of like a Niagara on the Lake type street, where there's a lot of shops and stuff.
Any fabric stores?
I don't know. I didn't know.
Oh.
And then where is it? Oh, before we get there, I was thinking we'd stop at the Australian Zoo.
Oh, okay.
And then on our way back, we just sort of drive down, back towards Brisbane.
Meanwhile, in the north, there's cyclones. Well, hopefully the cyclones will have disappeared by the time we get out there.
Hopefully there won't be any new cyclones.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. So, it's not supposed to be cyclone season because that ends around the end of March. What's today's date? It's not the end of March, is it? So, any other little pieces I should know since you're my travel agent?
No.
And constantly looking at your phone as we're walking down streets, and every 3 blocks.
Yeah, because I've got the map in there.
Yeah, I know, but every 3 blocks you're going to go, oh, I think we're going the wrong way.
Well, I got to make sure we're going the right way. I don't want to walk 3 blocks and go the wrong way.
But still, we do.
We did not.
Oh, we did. Yeah. Okay, whatever. And now we're going to talk about stupidity. Okay, you see what we're sitting on? There's this table on pipes kind of a thing, very rustic-like, which is fine. But you look down here where my legs are. Okay, yes, I am not a tall man, but first of all, my feet don't touch the floor. I don't have a problem with that, but if I'm sitting right now, look at this is how far away I am sitting from the table if I sit on the thing. I have to sit on the edge of this stool. There's one beside me.
I don't have any problem.
You slump. Would it have killed them to either made the table 3 more boards wider or to move the seats in a little bit more. Yes, they're anchored to the floor, so you can't shove them in. Well, I get that. They don't want them moved around, but they could have put them in a little tighter. Of course, Walter's excuse is the guy who installed it was some great big fat rear end person, and for him this was okay. Not thinking about the rest of us. Oh well, I guess that's the way they do it here. This is the City Hall in Brisbane. And supposedly Brisbane Museum is inside. So we're going in to check that out. We just passed a big protest a few minutes ago that initiated down further from here. And we're not sure what the protest was about, but I think it has to do with the attack on the mosque in Christchurch in New Zealand by the Australians that have been labeled as terrorists. Those two words don't seem to go together in my mind, but anyways, whole lot of controversy over here about that whole thing. And anyways, I thought they might end up here, but I guess they're not going to end up here. And this is just another view of the Queen Street Mall, all the way down there. It's a very nice pedestrian mall. We need more of those in our country. So this is inside City Hall, just in front of the front door. Take you up to the ceiling, bring you down to the main doors. And the staircase was built in 1930, almost 100 years old, 89 to be exact. So we're in the lifts going up to the Brisbane Museum, which I'm just so excited about. I'm hot and I'm sticky and my feet are tired, but we're going to see this anyways because it's free. So let us see when the doors open. And here we are. Hello. At least it's nice and cool in here. I'd give you a commentary, but I have no idea what I'm talking about, so you'll just have to watch as I take us around.
Is that for the street? Yeah, it seems so.
I think we went the back way.
Did we?
Yeah. That looks like one of those things that they put on the water for North Shore Pavilion.
Mm.
Yeah, just past the exhibition.
Okay, we just came out of City Hall and Walter wanted to stop and take a picture of this church. I'm not sure what church this is. Albert Street Congregation. Don't know what that is, whether it's Methodist, Anglican, United, Congregationalist. I don't think it's Catholic, but whatever, it's pretty. And what better time of the day, a hot day in Brisbane, than with a couple of 7-Eleven Slurpees. I haven't had one of these in a long, long time. And I kind of forgot about the brain freeze effect. So if you have one of these, this is what a brain freeze effect will do to you.
It was kind of my first Slurpee ever.
Oh, it's Walter's first Slurpee. He's a Slurpee virgin.
Well, I might have had one as a kid once, but I can't remember.
They didn't have Slurpees when we were kids.
Oh.
Yeah. We used to do it the hard way. They used to make us wait till it snowed. And then they always told us, don't eat the yellow snow.
Okay, so I alluded to the fact that the hospital business that I had to go through this week had to do with my mother. Yes, she's not doing well. We talked about this extensively on Stephen and Walter Live, so I'm not going to do it anymore and bore you to tears with it all. Just to say that my mother was having her oxygen level was low. She wasn't in any pain or anything like that, but they really felt that she needed to go to the hospital to have this checked out. Turns out she has pneumonia. Now, she doesn't have a viral pneumonia. She has a pneumonia that's been created by fluid in her lungs that have come from her throwing up. Is that aspiration? I never get the word right. So they're treating her. They've put her on oxygen, and they're treating her with antibiotics for this. So yesterday was her 81st birthday. So my sister and her husband and myself and Walter, we went over to see her. My sister got some balloons and some cards, and she got my mother an orchid. My mother doesn't water anything, but apparently my sister says, she used to work for a florist, that orchids don't take a lot of care. I thought they were very finicky. We'll see how long this one lasts. But anyways, we were there to make it a little bit festive for her. My mother does not look like my mother. She is so thin. My mother was never a big lady, but I think right now, soaking wet, she doesn't weigh even 100 pounds. You could take your fingers and you could just wrap them right around her wrist, no problem. In fact, she still had on her arm the hospital bracelet they put on, which I didn't know if we should take that off or not while we're there, but it would have been easy because it would have just slipped over her hand, no problem. She says she isn't in any pain, but we could hardly hear her when we were talking to her. Her voice was so low. At one point, she started to cough a little bit, and it felt kind of dry, the air. And of course, she was on oxygen, so I don't know, that probably dries you out a little bit as well. Don't know, never been on it. So I went out to get one of the staff people, and they came in and gave her some water, but she pockets it. And they wait right there until she swallows it. And I said to her, Mom, does it hurt when you swallow? No. Does it hurt anywhere, Mother? No. She's fading rapidly, I think. So I have something I need to do this afternoon, which I'm not looking forward to, but I'm going to ask the nurse practitioner in administration at the nursing home. My mother has filled out paperwork. Well, they filled it out for her, and they asked her at the time if it came to a point where they would need to resuscitate her, did she want to be resuscitated? She said yes. But I have power of personal care jointly with my sister. And I talked to my sister about this already. And, well, one, I don't know how they can get her consent one way or the other at a crucial point, because right now she seems to be a little disoriented. She was saying things when we were there seeing her yesterday. You know, she didn't really know where she was. We tried to clear that up for her the best we could, you know. So really, her cognitive abilities have diminished quite a bit. They told me that at the nursing home too. So I want to see if we can supersede that, because quite frankly, I think if my mother ends up being hooked up to a whole lot of tubes and things like that, right now she does not have a good quality of life. And not because of anything the nursing home's doing. They're doing everything to make everything good for my mother. No complaints there whatsoever. But I really don't think she can make the decision for that. I don't want to have to make the decision either, but you know, what do you do? So I'm going to ask for some advice from the nurse practitioner and the administrator. The administrator of the nursing home is an RN as well, and see what they can tell me, because I'm sure they have gone through this with other people before. Yeah, I'm afraid that we're coming to that point where, yeah, you know, the end. So, yeah, okay, enough about that, because that's a downer. Okay, let's talk about an upper, like our upgrade to our internet. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. They came after I finished last week's vlog. The guy showed up to do all of this, fixed it all up, got everything working and whatnot. I did some fine tuning of it, and yes, we have incredible speed. This is through fiber optics. So we're supposed to get at the site of the modem, where the modem is, where everything's coming into the modem that distributes it through all of our wireless things in the house, and we have a lot of those. 100 gigabytes per second download speed, 750 megabytes upload speed. Now, I'll give you a comparison to what we had before. Before, we were supposed to be getting 50 megabytes per second download, and we'd get around 12 to 13 megabytes per second upload. Big difference. Now, that's at the site of the modem. That does diminish depending on how many things in your house are on your Wi-Fi. So we're not getting those speeds that they claim that we should be getting, but we're still getting them incredibly fast. Here's my example. After I finish the vlog and compile it, I upload it to YouTube. These videos usually run about an hour. To upload it to YouTube takes anywhere from about an hour and a half to 2 hours, sometimes a little longer, to get it onto YouTube. Last week, when I uploaded my videos after we got the new internet upgrade, it took 10 minutes. 8 to 10 minutes for the same length of videos. That's incredible. So it's well worth the price of admission, as far as I'm concerned. Speaking of which, what's the cost for this? Well, they're running a special rate now, so I think it's costing us about, before taxes, about $85 a month for this. Well, that's in around the ballpark of what we were paying for the old system. Now, I think that's good for about 3 months, and then after that, I think it might go up to $119 a month. Well, that's still not bad for what we're getting. However, we're going to save a little money because later today I'm going to call my provider and I'm going to cancel our landline phone because we're not using our landline. We use our cell phones. Walter's wanted to get rid of the landline for quite a while. I've been a holdout on it because I'm still old school about that. What if an emergency and our cell phones aren't working and all of that? But my cell phone's always with me. It's always fully charged. And that's the number, actually. My cell phone number is the number I give out to businesses and any other people that I have to deal with. I don't give them the landline number anymore. So the only calls we get on the landline are from scammers. You know, they want to do our duct cleaning, or they want to take a survey, or they're telling us that our credit cards have been compromised, blah, 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 all that usual stuff. So we're going to get rid of it. That's going to save us about $60, $65 or so a month on our Bell bill, because Bell is our provider here, and they provide both our internet and our television connections and our telephone, internet, everything with that. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to see how much of a hard sell they're going to give me about getting rid of it. But here's the ironic part we found out from the guy who installed the upgrade to the internet. Apparently our phone is on the internet now too. It's voice over protocol or something like that they call it. So basically, if the power goes off and our internet goes down, we can't use our phone either. At least not our landline. We can use our cell phones still with that because they're on a cellular system, right? For calls. But we can't use our phone, our landline. So why bother? Now, speaking of if the power goes down, that's why I got a UPS, uninterrupted power supply, for our new modem, because our old modem, I bought a special battery that you could insert into it that would keep it powered up if the power went down. But this new one doesn't have that feature. In fact, they recommend you buy a UPS. So I did, plugged it in, so we're fine. So because we're working on laptops, they have a battery supply. If the power goes off into the house, we still have internet connection. And we can still use our computer for that. So that's why I got a UPS for the modem as well. But I'm very happy with the speed and the whole bit right now. What else? No more bats. We've been bat free for a week, so I guess we got them all out of here. The 3 that we had last week, and I'm sleeping again with that. Actually, my worry about my bats is not as significant as my worry is about my mother. So, you know, out of the fire into the frying pan, or out of the frying pan into the fire, whatever. But anyways, that's good. We are bat free. Nice to know. And Walter's been cooking as usual this week. Now, he did 3 different things this week, and I've got a little video clip to show you what that involved. On Avante Wednesdays, you know, that's the night we have Italian, he did some stuffed pasta shells with ricotta and spinach, I think, and those were pretty good. And then on Friday night, he did shish kebab. Those were actually really, really good that he made. Those on the barbecue. He used actually a teriyaki recipe that's in our little recipe thing that I've had for years. Of course, he altered it a little bit because that's what Walter does. Okay. And then we had a little disaster. On Saturday night, he decided to make General Tso chicken. And he cut up all the vegetables. They looked really nice and the whole bit, but he decided to use the Instapot. He has a special attachment for the top of the Instapot that makes it into an air fryer. And yeah, we had chicken nuggets. And when I say nuggets, I mean like nuggets of rock from that. Well, 2 out of 3 isn't bad, is it? It's just, I find it funny because usually anything Walter cooks turns out great. This, not so much. Sauce was nice. But anyways, I'm going to insert that little clip of these 3 dishes here for you now.
I've never done these before.
This week on Wally Cooks, he has a dilemma. What's your dilemma, Wally?
I don't know whether I should do 2 layers of this or...
And what is this 2 layers of?
These are pasta shells.
Oh, I see. And you're stuffed the pasta shells with green crap. What's that?
Spinach and ricotta and parmesan.
I don't think you should do 2 layers because I think they'll all schmucky down. I don't know. Just take another pan and make another pan of it. And probably we'll be able to freeze one anyways.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's a lot in here. I'll spray that. Oh.
Well, you might be surprised how much is in there. So that's your mixture you're sticking in there. And how are you stuffing your shells? You said you were doing it by sort of
I'm
with
just doing
spoons.
it by the spoon because it's easier.
Oh, okay. I would have thought.
Well, I don't know. I can get a pastry bag now, but I already got used to doing it
Okay,
with
well,
a spoon. So I'm not
you
gonna
do it whichever way you are. You're the. So this is the finished product. These are shells stuffed with spinach and ricotta and anything else in them? Spices? Anything?
Parmesan.
Like that? Parmesan. Okay. And a Caesar salad made with lettuce from our garden. So this is actually a meatless Italian dinner tonight. Well, there are bacon bits in the salad, but you know, they're so small, you'd know about it. And then we have some fresh cut cheese buns. Not Walter's, but whatever. So that's what we're having tonight. A little glass of red, a little glass of white. So it is Avante Wednesday. You've heard me talk about that before. And so that's what we're having tonight. Now, what do these look like when you scoop them out?
I don't know.
Well, try. Let us see. The first cut's the deepest. Lots of cheese. You want lots of cheese. It may be meatless. Ooh, it looks delicious. Yum. Okay, so that's what's for dinner tonight with Wally Cooks. And Wally is cooking again. So we have a skillet full of vegetables. We've got chicken pieces all dredged. And he's got out the Instapot.
I debated how to cook it. I could have done it in the toaster oven too, or in the regular oven, but I think I'll just do it in here.
But what is it?
It's going to be chicken, was it sow chicken or chicken?
General
sow chicken.
Oh, General Sow chicken. And we also have a healthy appetizer. Some carrot sticks, some celery sticks, and some olives, and some special cheese sauce that Walter makes from scratch. And how does he make it, you might add? Well, what's the secret ingredient, Walter?
It's cheese whiz and milk.
And I think you put some Frank's in there too, didn't you?
Put a little Frank's hot sauce in it.
Ooh, there is a delight. And so now he's putting his chicken pieces in the Instapot. Now, of course, this Instapot, he has the optional attachment, which is the heating unit.
Milfy.
The Milfy? Milfy?
Yeah, it's actually not made by Instapot. It's just they've made it for
Which allows you to
air fry
in your Instapot. We have all the toys. Okay, that takes us to what's coming up. Nothing except way into the future. Well, not that far now. We're in the middle of August. Actually, the second half of August now. Wow, summer's going by too quickly. Ultimate Sewing has decided to resume classes again, which is great. Before COVID, we were taking some classes and then they all got stopped when the store couldn't open again because of COVID. So she's going to start them up again starting in September. And I have one class doesn't happen until November, and Walter has a class that does start in September, but I asked about the protocols for this. She has a very, very tiny classroom, and usually you're sitting on top of each other in there because she usually packs in 8 to 10 people in a class, which is a little overcrowding in the best of times. She's cut it back to 6. I don't think it's enough. I think she should cut it back to 4. People will have to wear their masks. I asked her, what's the protocol on vaccinations? Are you going to allow people who are not fully vaxxed, like people who've only had one shot, into these classes? Or is it strictly you're going to ask everybody and they have to prove they've had 2 shots? Yeah, she doesn't have an answer yet for that. She's between a rock and a hard place as well with this, because as a store owner, the government has said they can make their own rules that go beyond what the government has already put into regulation. So if she wants to say that people cannot take a class unless they've been double vaxxed, she's perfectly in her right to do so. However, she's also risking alienating some of her clientele with that. But then on the other hand, most of the people that go to her store have been going there for years. They know Shirley, they respect Shirley, and I'm sure most of them, because they are older people, have had both of their shots as well. So I don't know how she's going to handle that yet. I know how I'm going to handle it. Well, first of all, Walter will be the guinea pig because his classes come up first in September. I don't know if he will do what I'm going to do, but I intend to, when I get into that classes, I'm going to look at everybody that's in the room and I'm going to say, I'm assuming that everybody here has been double vaxxed. And I'll wait for their reaction. If someone turns around and goes, well, that's really none of your business, I'm going to say, why isn't it any of my business? It's my health. You do not have a right to jeopardize my health. I am double vaxxed to keep you safe. You should return the favor. And then I'll leave. I won't take the class. I'll go. I'm not risking it. It's not worth the risk. Okay? I don't think it'll come to that because, I'm at that store on a regular basis. I've taken many, many classes there before. Generally speaking, the clientele are very supportive of whatever Shirley does, and they are, for the most part, seem to be sensible people. So I don't think I'm going to run into that problem. But I am not afraid to ask people if they've been double vaxxed or not, because I know right now it's becoming one of those things where people are getting all uptight about, well, invasion of privacy, blah, blah, blah. And since our government hasn't got the balls to turn around and say we have to have a vaccination passport, then it's on ourselves to protect ourselves, isn't it? And one way you protect yourself from this disease is to find out who you are coming into contact with and what their status is. So I will be asking that question. And if I feel uncomfortable with the situation, I will remove myself from the situation. But I am looking forward to classes again, and I'm hoping that's going to work out well. Okay, so that's about it. Nothing new here. I think everything recorded this time, since this is the double time around. And tomorrow there'll be a Idiot Quilter come up later in the week. Another So Chatty. If you have suggestions for topics for both Idiot Quilter and So Chatty, and for that matter, Stephen and Walter Live, and even this vlog, please, 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 don't keep them to yourself. And don't think that they may be stupid, because they're not. But we need ideas, and we appreciate those ideas. So you can put them in the comments below, or you can send them directly to me via email. That's all in the show notes, the links to all of that. So we'd appreciate it if you did, because after all, we want to make this interesting for you. Okay? Because what's the point of doing it? I'll just be talking to myself. Okay. So I hope you have a good week. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're happy. And I hope you're staying that way. And we'll see you for the next vlog next week. Bye for now.